Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to day 4 of our Disney Princess Week podcast.
Today we're looking at the only princess movie rivaling Frozen in popularity,
Tangled. In this Disney twist on Rapunzel, she has spent her entire life in a tower. But now that a runaway thief has stumbled upon her, she's about to discover the world for the first time and who she really is.
Yes.
You must lose yourself to find yourself.
You mean not here? I don't know what you're saying. Yes, so Tangled has quite a bit of history, not just in the fairy tale, but in terms of making this movie. It's the most expensive animated film ever made, and one of the most expensive movies of all time.
Wow.
Which is actually something surprising for Disney, because usually they have this standard set amount of money they use for each movie, depending on how much animation and who they're getting and stuff. Plus, we also had something weird about the title. It was gonna be called Rapunzel, like the Grimm fairy tale, and so many people have done Rapunzel already, and they changed it to Tangled so it would be gender neutral, so they wouldn't figure who's in the spotlight more or something. Okay. It was really weird, but we're fine with Tangled. It's still a fun title. Yes. The only thing is her hair doesn't get tangled in anything. So.
And I always kept saying, when does it get tangled? It didn't get tangled coming down. It didn't get tangled climbing down it. It didn't get tangled
at all.
Back on the series, right?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
So maybe they're referring to the story itself.
Yeah, maybe, because it's another twist. So.
Right. This was a great adaptation of a very old fairy tale that had been done, for hundreds of years. This was really a fresh new take that worked. Revitalization of characters, storyline, extra characters that didn't exist in the original story.
Right.
This is one of Disney's golds.
Yes.
Gold
platinum or something.
Disney, it's a spot in the crown. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pure Disney gold because they took it and we worked it into something that was entirely fresh and new, but it's the same story.
Right. And, the story is only really 2 or 3 characters. You got the Rapunzel, you got the prince that rescues her, and then you got the witch that locked her in a tower. Mm-hmm. That's it. And here they actually added a few more characters for you to enjoy. Of course, you had those basic 3, but you also had her little chameleon Pascal.
Yeah.
You had this horse named Maximus, who was more like a soldier than the other soldiers, and part bloodhound. And he was like on a mission to find Flynn Rider. I mean, he was like this horse has an agenda. And you also had the Stabbington brothers, and you had the
Ron Perlman, the great Ron.
Oh yeah, and they also had Brad Garrett, Jeffrey Tambor, and some other people voicing the pub thugs,
right,
who are actually all really nice people. Mm-hmm. We just kind of wonder where they all went when they did the series, because it went from being like this whole plethora of thugs to like 5 or 6.
Right.
It's like, did you all find other commitments or what?
Well, the 2 lead characters are voiced perfectly by Mandy Moore, who we love in This Is Us, and who I've loved before when she was originally a singer, and Zachary Levi. They're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. They couldn't have casted 2 more perfect voices for these characters.
Yes.
Zachary Levi has really gotten great in terms of voice acting, and then combining that with doing the live action character like for Shazam.
Yeah.
And remember when we first heard he was doing, we were trying to imagine how he was going to be Shazam in the movie, since they don't want to call him Captain Marvel now, but how he was going to be Shazam and Billy Batson.
Yeah.
And then when we saw the trailer, it was perfect. He has this brilliant way of embodying the characters he's playing, just like, and is a great compliment, just like Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell never seems like he's acting. He always seems like he's the actual character. And Zachary Levi has that same great, brilliant way of acting where you believe he is the character and you forget he's Zachary Levi. And the same thing even happens in this animated movie. You forget whom you're listening to.
Right.
Zachary Levi. And the same with Mandy Moore. So they're actually absolutely perfect.
Right. And another star I might will mention, since it's a pretty short voice casting list, but that didn't hurt the movie at all. It's just that they made sure you focused on the two main characters and didn't get lost in being introduced to 50 others. We had Donna Murphy as Mother Gothel, which became a pretty, I'll say, interesting antagonist for the film, because her goal was to stay young with the Sundrop flower,
Right.
and then how it kind of went into this weird relationship she has with Rapunzel, because she thinks it's her mother, because she was taken as a baby. And the way they have in this story, she truly believes, instead of just leaving her in the tower and she knows she was locked up, she's waiting for a prince, and here she raises her as her own.
Right.
But we didn't get the feeling of she does care for her as her own. It's all more of a front just to have the magic hair, because when she sings a song, it has healing powers. And she uses that each time to stay youthful. And it really starts to bring in some of the dark parts of the movie. It's still a fun musical. There's still plenty of comedic moments, and you love all the parts of it. But it definitely gets into the dark themes when it gets near the end and she finds out who she is.
Now, it's funny that you say that, because while you were talking, I was just thinking, and this is another way Disney has made sure it keeps itself at the top and different from everyone else. The original Brothers Grimm stories were dark.
Yeah.
And when most studios or companies or individuals decide to do the stories, they make them really, really kid-friendly and really innocent and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Disney takes that and adds it to it, but they manage somehow to still keep a portion of the darkness in every fairy tale that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done it brilliantly. And this was no different. It had the right balance of that kid friendliness it needed, the happiness, the fun, the storytelling. But as you said, there's still that darkness underneath that they keep from the original story,
Yes.
keeping it true to the original, I guess, feeling that the stories have.
Yeah. And we also, like we said, for the name change, Tangled was fine. We were fine with Rapunzel too, since most of the movies they've had about the princesses have the name of the princesses in the title. Except for, Princess and the Frog and Brave and others. But, yeah, we're fine with it. Now, as for, you probably were asking, where was the sequel? Well, they kind of had the same feeling as some other people that really enjoyed this movie, but you realize, at the end of the movie, it's she cut her hair, so that's it.
Well, they did something better. The TV show.
Yes.
Which took it way further than they ever could have done with a sequel.
Exactly. And yes, Tangled the series is definitely a great series.
And we also did a dedicated podcast to this show, and we'll attach your card. So if you haven't seen it, you can just click the link and hear our brief podcast on Tangled the series.
Yes. And yes, this was actually a better idea than a sequel movie, because if you'd done a sequel movie taking all that time, then it would have been over in 90 minutes or 2 hours, and it's okay, when's Tangled 3? And then they're back in the same boat.
Right.
So this was a better route. It took them 7 or 8 years to do it, but they still, like I said, did a great job at expanding the Tangled universe and doing way more than just a story, with very, very popular characters that went beyond the popularity of the main characters.
Definitely. And another brilliant move, and this movie is just full of brilliant moves by Disney. They kept the original voice actors. Yes, it had been 7 years, as you said, but it was like they never left.
Yeah.
They sounded the same. They picked up where they left off, and they had that same quality of, you forget who they are and you really believe they're the characters. And that was awesome, because a lot of times when people make movies out of TV shows, they change them, like they did with Emperor's New Groove. They don't get the originals.
Yeah.
And this time it was a great idea, a great premise, great art. It doesn't work well. This time it was perfect, and it did work well.
Yes.
As we said in the original podcast, it took a few episodes to get into, But once you get past that awkward stage,
yeah,
it's a great series.
It's kind of like you got to go back into place because it's been so many years, even for long-time Tangled fans. It had been a while, so we had to adjust back to this new animation, back into the story, because it hasn't been that long for the show's universe, but it's been longer for the real world.
Right.
So, like you said, great idea, and we hope that by the time this goes up, Disney has brought back Varian.
Yes, Varian. But this is not Varian the movie.
Yes, but that's all we can touch on. You'll definitely see more about that in our Tangled the Series podcast.
Yes.
So if you have not seen Tangled, please go see it. It's definitely one of the best Disney movies and Disney princess movies.
There's a slight chance that you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I know you have, so since I know you have, tell us what made this movie wonderful for you, seeing this whole new way in which the Rapunzel story was told.
Yeah.
Why you love it. And if you do watch the series, why you who's your favorite? Why you enjoy it and who's your favorite character? And you better say it's Varian.
Yeah, that's half the reason we watch the show now. So, thank you so much for watching, and tune in tomorrow for our next Disney Princess podcast. You're definitely going to love that one. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in the